The Caribbean Sea, the Antilles in the month of January. It's been one of my dreams for so long. But I'm not about to board on a huge cruise ship with 3,000 tourists in shorts and Hawaiian shirts. No way. My idea is more like my hair blowing in the breeze from the prow of an impressive sailing ship en route to unexplored islands. And that's why I decided to embark on Le Ponant, an elegant three-master with a decidedly modern cut.
This is not one of those huge boats with 3,000 to 4,000 passengers. You're more than a number here, you're really a person. And for me, that's what makes this boat special. Our passengers really feel they're passengers on their ship, rather than being on a cruise ship.
Our captain has promised me that in the course of the week he would take me to idyllic islands, thick with coconut trees swaying gently in the warm trade winds, turquoise seas and fine white sand beaches straight out of a postcard. What a charmer. But I have to admit that this man who knows the way to a woman's heart is above all an excellent sailor.
Le Ponant is a true sailing ship in the sense that we can go much faster with the sails than with the engines. My personal record under sail is 16.5 knots.
16.5 knots? What's that in real numbers? 31 kilometers an hour? Wow!
In certain zones, we use mainly the engines because of the winds. But here in the Caribbean, we have the trade winds, so we can easily do 80% of the cruise under sail. So she's a true sailing ship.
I spent a good part of the morning with my head in the clouds, watching the play of the wind in the sails. And then I set out to explore the boat. 88 meters long, 4 decks, not really big enough to get lost in. Here's the restaurant, the Carukera. Not bad for a sailing ship. Little tables for an intimate dinner among friends, comfortable leather armchairs, a gourmet menu. I have a feeling I'm going to love the dinners by candlelight and the elegant soiree. And to think I nearly set out on this Caribbean adventure with just a few pair of clam digger pants and some shirts that knot around the waist. Luckily, at the last minute, I slipped a few dresses into my luggage. They should help me turn a few heads. Until then, I'm enjoying my breakfast as I gaze out onto the sea. A delectable interlude. Immediately above the Antigua deck, where I had breakfast, is the reception area and the Emerald Room. In perfect harmony with the atmosphere of the restaurant, this lounge combines the warm tones of exotic wood with the creamy light colors of the leather armchairs, a delicate blend of modern and traditional.
The Emerald Lounge is an important hub of the ship because it gives onto the marina, the reception area, and of course, the staterooms. We can welcome up to 64 passengers on board. We have 3 cabin stewardesses and a housekeeper to take care of the staterooms and laundry on board.
Welcome to my cabin. It's not very big, around 13 square meters, but it's very comfortable and tastefully decorated. Apart from a few details, Le Ponant's 32 staterooms are all identical. We wouldn't want any favoritism. As if to remind us that Le Ponant is indeed a French ship, the national colors, red, white, and blue, are subtly integrated into the decor. Talking with Quentin, the bosun, I found out that this boat, which has sailed the seas the world over, was born in a shipyard on the Seine River. That surely explains its natural elegance. I laze away the rest of the day in a deck chair on the sun deck, lulled by the gentle rocking of the waves. I have to confess that anything even vaguely technical usually bores me to tears, but I do find a certain beauty in this marriage of metal, cloth, and canvas found on the ship's decks. The only problem is, there seems to be a shortage of sailors. The captain has dropped anchor in the famous Saints Bay off Guadeloupe, the perfect opportunity to explore this little parcel of France lost in the tropics. When I get back on board, the restaurant crew is already setting the tables. Today, the Saints Islands, tomorrow, Antigua or St. Barth. This panoramic restaurant changes its decor every day. A certain notion of luxury that is open onto the world. But the view is not the only thing that changes. The savors and aromas of the dishes prepared by the galley crew also vary according to the different ports of call.
We try to stock fresh produce. In all the small ports where we stop, we always know all the vendors. We try to take on mangoes, papayas, and passion fruit regularly. So we offer dishes according to the ports we've called at.
Who can resist the savors of the Antilles? Chicken or goat colombo, Creole black pudding, spicy accra, stuffed crab, lime-marinated fish bluff, all accompanied by rum punch. I'm sure the chef of Le Ponant would love to go all out with the spices in these Creole dishes, but he has to tame down the recipes for the average palate. And I must say the result is simply delicious. Trust me, I'm a foodie. I've been on board for 2 days now, long enough to rate the ship's qualities. The restaurants, the lounge, the staterooms, they're all perfect. So in my book, this boat is definitely in the luxury class. And yet the captain maintains that Le Ponant has something special that makes passengers keep coming back for more.
We're on a luxury sailing yacht, but we depend on the weather a great deal, much more than a huge cruise liner, in the sense that if there's a bit of swell and you're under sail, the boat is going to roll and pitch a bit. That's part of the experience and, yes, part of the luxury. Our passengers are eager for this contact with the sea.
We've weighed anchor, and Le Ponant, under the captain's masterful hand, is heading for the next port of call. While the sailors are carrying out maneuvers on deck, I luxuriate in the warm light of the late afternoon. This is my first trip on this boat, but I'm beginning to see what draws certain well-to-do passengers back time after time. Up till now, I've had just one reservation. The ambiance has been a little too calm for my taste. But that was before the captain's evening. The party went on into the wee hours, a night to remember. Now I'm completely won over, but I do have something of a headache. The next morning, I was expecting to meet the captain up on the bridge, but I came face to face with a young woman. Maybe it was the champagne, or the rum, or the mixture of the two. I do a little snooping and I find out that Charlene is, in fact, the first officer, a lady at the helm. Now this is my kind of boat. When the captain comes to take over, I have a word with Charlene. What does it feel like to command a large sailing ship like this one?
I feel right at home. I've been on board for 3 weeks, and I'm really in my element. I'm very comfortable with this kind of boat. The more human scale suits me just fine. I don't like boats that are too big, with too many crew members and passengers. There's a human dimension here. Plus, I was pleasantly surprised by the ship's sailing capacities. I didn't fully appreciate that before I signed on. She's a genuine sailing ship, powered by the wind. Every boat has its own personality. It's not just a pile of sheet metal. Le Ponant is certainly not an old ship. It's a traditional ship. The 3 poles there are not just for show. Right from the drawing board, there was a deliberate choice to design the ship to be easy to handle, but they also wanted a high-tech ship. So each watch is a challenge. We see the performance of the previous watch, and then we see if we can do better. Trim the sails to get a better trade-off between course and speed. You really have to consider the route to take when you're under sail.
Another woman subjugated by the charm of the streamboat. But what interests me is not so much the boat's performance, but more simply the heavenly shores where it is taking us. I chose the Antilles because in the middle of the winter, I need a healthy dose of sea and sun. A different beach every day. You can't beat that. This too is luxury. The tall, white sailing ship does more than just plop its passengers down on these dream beaches. It also invites anyone who wishes to discover the wonders of the underwater world of silence. For Patrick, the diving instructor, Le Ponant is his home away from home.
It's an extremely user-friendly boat. That is to say, it's really open to the sea, open to water sports, and since it's a small boat, it's easy to contact the passengers interested in scuba diving. I can walk around the ship, talk to the passengers, answer their questions, etc. That creates a contact that just might motivate them to give diving a try. I dive with a lot of first-timers as well as with experienced divers.
Patrick was sure that these images would tempt me into taking the plunge with him. Breathtaking. But I'd be too afraid to find myself face to face with a shark. So my initiation into scuba diving will have to wait until next time. Maybe. We've spent the entire week island hopping through the Lesser Antilles. The size of the ship, the small number of passengers, the warm, helpful attitude of the crew, it all made for a very friendly atmosphere. The first day I came on board, Sarah, the cruise director, talked about a family spirit. Now I understand a little better what she meant. As we approach Guadeloupe, everyone is on deck. Passengers, deckhands, cabin attendants. Some will head for the beach. Others are off to do some shopping. As for me, I'll pass up the beach just this once and trade my bikini for hiking shoes. Guadeloupe is well worth a little sacrifice. As I do each time one of my little luxury boat escapades comes to an end, I take out my little red moleskine notepad and jot down the highlights of the cruise. This voyage on Le Ponant had a special something. How can I describe a sailing cruise that has all the comforts of a luxury liner? Maybe this is what Sarah means by the term yachting.
I associate yachting with the words private, luxury, somewhat exclusive. We want to surprise the passengers, to surpass their expectations, and I think Le Ponant can do that. A month ago, there was a passenger whose dream was to swim with the dolphins, so along with his wife, we set up a surprise. He thought he was going on a normal outing with everyone else, and we had a private car waiting for him. Well, he swam with the dolphins for the first time in his life. When it's doable, we really enjoy organizing this type of thing.
In the warm glow of the setting sun, Le Ponant prepares to set sail for the last time. Lulled by the gentle rocking of the boat, I close my eyes and I dream of hundreds of dolphins, all escorting Le Ponant toward new horizons.